us this week as we sail our 12-metre catamaran to Ruang Island, scene of Indonesia's most recent volcanic eruption. And wow, is this place decimated. Every single person was evacuated and no one has returned. Join us to check this out.
That's a devil. You like it? Yeah, I like it.
Where are we going today?
We are going to Ruang, which is the Volcano Island. It erupted not too long ago, so we're gonna go around, see the new lava flows and what it looks like, and maybe snorkel a little bit. Gonna see.
You know the plan for today, Mark?
Yeah, we're just going to head out of Sulawesi Pittwater here and head out to see a volcano, Ruang, isn't it? It's the most recent eruption. Yeah. Should be pretty cool.
This is Mark. He's one of our top patrons and joining us for 2 weeks in this adventure.
Hey, having a good day so far, little boy?
So we'd spent the night before anchored in this cosy little bay by this beautiful little village, and today we were just motoring out of this, out into the ocean, got some free air, and then time to pull up the sails and get going. Now this leg up to Ruang was going to be totally downwind, basically a run. So we decided to leave the mainsail in its bag this day and just use the screecher and potentially the head sail wing on wing. And easy day. That's the easiest sort of sailing you can get if you're going downwind, not too worried about speed, and just watch the big sails work. So with the screecher set, the engine's off, we rolled out the jib, and as you see here, I like to barber haul it right out. You can use another block and just run another sheet off the corner of the jib and pull it right out wide. Gives you an extra bit of speed downwind. Would we have been faster with a spinnaker up? Well, I'm sure we would have. Would that spinnaker have been much more of a hassle to set for a relatively short leg? Well, I'm sure of that also. Maybe I'm just getting old, but I like doing things the easy way sometimes. Now Eli's 10 months old, and he's been living on a boat for 7 of those months.
Steering as well, there you go. Yep.
And he seems to really enjoy sailing, or at least being on the move, much more than sort of being at anchor. And he just seems to get into boat mode, and he's much better behaved, and he's just sort of looks after himself, and he's super stoked to actually be moving along. You like watching the surroundings and the water move by, and it's pretty cool. Never been seasick either, which is a real big relief to Marie and I. A good couple of hours later, we started getting closer, and the island sort of popped out of the ocean, and it was a lot different than I expected, to be honest. I thought there would be a couple or multiple sort of rivers where lava had flowed down the hill into the ocean, but no.
Oh man, amazing. Rivers of mud.
We felt as if we were already there. The island was right up there in front of us. But as you see here, there was a mad current coming around the point, and it actually took us another hour to do those last couple of miles. Once we got through that, we rolled up the sails, put everything away, turned the engines on, and motored in towards the beach. A few months before, Ruang had been a lush green, I guess you could say a tropical paradise. About 800 to 900 permanent residents called this island home. Now this island has a pretty long history of blowing its top. The last one was February 2004. Relatively harmless, it didn't destroy any villages, put it that way. One big lava flow going down into the ocean. So pretty much exactly 20 years later, all that changed. At 9:45 PM on the 16th of April, Mount Ruang blew her top again, forcing the evacuation of all people on the island to a nearby island. It was a massive natural fireworks display. Huge rocks and boulders were flung high in the air, raining down on the villages. 500 buildings were destroyed in this onslaught. Even in faraway Manado, the airport was forced to close from the ash in the atmosphere. After a 2-week slowdown in eruptions, she set off again on the 30th of April, and that was it. No one was moving back to this island for a long, long time.
When we started to see the island from closer, we suddenly had a mixed feeling. We were knowing that we were going to a volcano after an eruption, but none of us really realized the scale of the natural catastrophe who's happened here. If from the boat we saw few houses and buildings abandoned, it is only when Vernon flew the drone that we realized the size of the villages and the number of people who were living here. Seeing a village completely destroyed by a rain of volcanic rocks made us imagine what the villagers lived here. The quantity of volcanic pebbles, mud and ash everywhere covering the whole land, the smell of sulfur in the air. As much as it is interesting to witness a natural phenomenon like this, it is also heartbreaking to think at all the families who had to abandon their home behind them, knowing that the volcano will swallow everything. I was almost feeling ashamed to come and watch what has been a drama for others.
As I was landing the drone, we were all in quite a somber mood, having witnessed the destruction from the bird's eye view.
Hard to imagine that a few months ago, this island was green of jungle and people were hiking to the top of this volcano to enjoy the view. Now, it is a marsh landscape on almost all the island. Only few pieces of vegetation escaped the loss and let us having a glimpse of what was ruined before the eruption.
Over the past few years, worldwide we've dealt with the pandemic. Locally, there's been political upheavals, there's been wars, and obviously they're all terrible things. But witnessing this, it became pretty obvious nature is still number one. Every now and again she opens up her hands, pulls back her arms and gives us such a hard slap and says, "I'm the boss, don't you forget it." Alas, we as humans, we probably will always.
Despite the heavy mood, we decided to jump in the water and have a look of how the underwater was affected by this eruption. Without surprises, the seabed was also covered with volcanic rocks and ash. Few corals were still sticking out and were having life in it. It was uplifting to see sea life coming slowly back again. Fish are not scared of when will be the next eruption and continue the life. As weird it can be, it was one of my favorite snorkeling for a long time. In the east of Sulawesi, we didn't have a lot of life to observe underwater, but here, even with the small part of the reef who survived, the variety of fish was surprisingly good. We even saw a shy turtle. If nature can be violent sometimes, life is always coming back. And this volcanic ground will be probably one day an amazing reef again. We just have to be patient. We ended up the day walking a bit on the island to enjoy the sunset, but below the waterline. We could have walked in the ghost towns, but we found that a bit out of the place and disrespectful. The warm light of the end of the day gave a softer look to this moon landscape and let us finish the day in a peaceful mood.
Right, well, we really hope you enjoyed this video. This was a pretty cool experience for us. It's the next morning now. We anchored just off the island, and it's 5:30 in the morning now, and we're getting an early start, but good to see this other side of the island. And the power of nature is, you know, I mean, we sort of see it every day mostly with sailing, but this is next level. Seeing all this stuff, what happened here. But what do you reckon, Mark? What do you think about the volcano?
Really impressive. The scale of the thing is just remarkable, but I think the thing that impressed me most was the sort of contrast between this devastation everywhere and this beauty that surrounds us. An amazing spot to be.
That's maybe the first time that I am that close of a volcano. Yeah, it's a mixed feeling for me. Like, I was super excited to see a volcano from close, but you can see what happened 4 months ago, and yeah, it's pinching a bit the heart to imagine people just have to leave their home and the whole village. And this island was pure jungle from the bottom to the top, and it's now just a pile of dust and rocks, and it's crazy to imagine how quickly everything can change sometimes. But yeah, probably a good way to be happy of our life and just thankful of what we are living. And yeah, even the underwater life, I was surprised to see that there was still a lot of fish, and the few corals popping out were still trying to survive, and life gonna come back. So now it's time to say goodbye to all of you. Thanks for watching. Thanks a lot for all the one who are supporting us on Patreon, on PayPal, and yeah, all the way, you know, to just help to finance the edition of all these videos. And we're gonna see you next week, still in the north of Sulawesi, and I hope you're gonna enjoy. Bye bye.
Bye bye, Eli. Bye bye, Eli.